Hello. Welcome back to the Wild Woody podcast. This week's episode is a book episode. And before I get into that, if you're watching the video of this, then you can see the stand that my microphone is on. Okay, we are no longer using the cat post with books piled on top. Okay, and this stand, you might be looking at it and you're like, Gabby, it looks really nice. Did you buy that? No. The answer is I bought the wood and then I built it, okay? I am a freaking, perfect human being. Let's start with that. Let's start on the lesser side of what I am because I freaking built this, okay? Perfect is just to start with on how amazing I am because this thing looks fabulous, okay? Now I'm going to stain it later, but sorry if I just disrupted the mic. Okay, but I'm going to stain this later, and then it'll be absolute perfection, okay? It's already perfect right now, but I just want a different color of perfect, okay? So, I'm doing that later today. Obviously, I can't do it now because I'm filming the podcast, and I need to use it to hold up the microphone. That way you can get the best audio possible, okay? Sorry, hold on, I have to cough or burp, I don't know. Ooh, that was a burp. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry if you could hear that. Oh, Lord. I really hope you couldn't. I turned away from it, but anyways. Also, with the mic being so close, I'm so sorry if you can hear me breathing, okay? I'm going to try not to breathe heavily, and I'm going to hopefully not sound like I'm doing, like, ASMR, but if it does sound like that, then I'm apologizing to you right now, okay? I am sorry. I hate ASMR, well, most ASMR, but I definitely hate the versions where it's like people breathing into the mic or like talking with a lisp. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, today we're going to cover A Court of Thorns and Roses, okay? Because the book that I'm currently reading, I'm not done reading yet. So obviously I can't review it. And if this week's a book podcast, I gotta do it on something I've already read before. Plus, House of Flame and Shadow just came out, which is like kind of tied into this, you know? So I feel like it makes sense. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the characters first, and then we're going to go through the books and the plot and whatnot, okay? And wherever that road may take us. So, I have my handy dandy little notebook, okay? I hope that gave you a little bit of ASMR right there, even though I just said that I hated it. So, okay, we're going to start with Feyre, obviously, the main star of the show, okay? The OG, the original gangster. And we love Feyre, obviously. First of all, she's not perfect. She's not a perfect character, which I love. The first book, when she's spending her moment in the Spring Court, before she knows Rhys, she's a solid character, maybe a little dumb at times, but she's solid, okay? And she's like a normal dumb. She's not like a horror movie character dumb, where they just do the worst things possible. She's just like, sometimes makes a poor decision. So she's very normal. And then we have Mist and Fury, okay? That book is what really sells us on Feyre because we see her like totally change. Okay, it's not just, I don't know. It's not a boring change, okay? She's dynamic. She's recovering from book 1, okay? She's freaking worn down, depressed, has PTSD, is very unhealthy, borderline suicidal. And then we see her in book 2 as she's going through it. And then trying to recover, and then by the end of book 2, she's totally different. And she's basically had a wellness journey, girl. So that's what it's all about, really. So yeah, we love her. There's not much more to say than that. Okay, Rhys-Anne. Now I know I'm going to get some disagreements on Rhys-Anne, okay? I love Rhys-Anne, okay? He is the man, okay? He's a snack. He's everything you want. However, he's too perfect. He's too perfect, people. Let me tell you, okay? There are no Rhysans in the world, okay? You might be thinking, man, I got myself a Rhysan. He's perfect. But he's not perfect. Like, in real life, people have flaws. They really do. Rhysand is too perfect, okay? And his flaws are like the flaws that you say at a job interview where it's like, I'm just too much of a perfectionist. I work too hard, Like, they're not real flaws, Okay, for Rhysand, he needs more flaws. Really, the one flaw we could say is lying. Now, you might be like, that's a big flaw in him. Okay, he literally lied to Feyre, like, her entire pregnancy when she could have, like, died, basically. She was going to die giving birth, and he tried to keep it a secret from her so she wouldn't freak out while he, did his best to find a way through it. But it was like his reason for lying about that was like, I don't want to take her happiness away from the pregnancy, which makes sense. It was totally messed up. But again, it's one of the interview flaws, okay? It's like a flaw, but it's not that bad. And that's who Rhysand is. He's just too perfect, guys, okay? He's too much of a feminist and also like very chivalrous and manly, and I don't know. I'm not really describing his character that well, but you get what I'm saying. He's too perfect, and yeah, he has a sad sob story. But like, we don't get to see him make any like real mistakes, At least in my opinion. Like, he is super sacrificial and like just the perfect guy, which is like, I'm probably the first woman to complain about the perfect guy, but for a book, like, I don't know. I need some more growth and development in him, and like, I want to see him be like, honestly, a crappy person and then overcome that, So, he's just a little too vanilla for me, okay? He's a little too basic, and that's all I gotta say. Next, we're gonna go into Cassian, okay? Now, Cassian is a good guy, okay? He also may be a little too perfect. He's a more rough around the edges guy, but also, he's kind of in the same boat with Rhysand, where all his, like, flaws are, like, kind of interview flaws, Like, he's the best guy. He's also, like, very, like, he's funny. He gives down-to-earth vibes. Like, he's a man's man, okay? If you were in the gym, he would be your spotter, okay? And then if you were in the grocery store, he would be helping the little old lady who can't reach the cucumbers on the top shelf. Pickles, do not do that, okay? He's the guy you want to take home to your parents, okay? And he's good looking, of course, okay? He's a mass monster, okay? At this point, we can call him Nicholas. If you don't know who that is, that's my husband. That's basically the equivalent, okay? I have a blonde-haired Cassian, and I'm proud to say it, okay? But my one downfall, okay, again, he doesn't really have that many real flaws. They're interview flaws, which for Cassian, the one thing I can say that makes him better than Rhysand is that he's not perfect when it comes to controlling his anger. Now, you could probably argue that for Rhysand too, but like, Rhysand is more, I don't know. He's not going to explode or anything. Typically, we can get like a few moments, but we don't really get to see that play out from Rhysand's point of view or Feyre's. What we do see is that when Cassian like blows up and gets angry, and usually it's in Silver Flames, I think. We might get some other glimpses, but we get to see more of his emotions, basically, okay? Now, the one bad thing I actually don't like in Cassian's character, and we'll get there, we'll talk more about it in Silver Flames, but he was a simp. And not like the way we use simp now is like, you're a little simp, like joking to your significant other that they like take care of you too well. No, he was like the simp of the original meaning of that term, where like you're down bad for someone that doesn't want to be with you, because that was him and Nesta. Like, Nesta was a total douchebag at first, and Cassian was a total simp, okay? And Cassian could have done better. Now Nesta's a good person in that they can be, they can be together. But at first I was like, Cassian, she's walking all over you, okay? Like, literally stop pining after her. It was a little sad and embarrassing. Moving on, we're going to Nesta. Now, I love Nesta now. Currently, in this moment, I like who Nesta is now. However, I will say Nesta was a freaking bitch, okay? She was not a good person. She was a total douchebag, and I stand by that. But also, Nesta would stand by that. She would tell you she was a douchebag, okay? She's a solid person now. She's getting better at controlling her emotions and expressing her feelings like a true adult. But, yeah, she kind of sucked at first. But that's why I love her. She's another truly dynamic character, okay? In House of Flame and Shadows, she was okay. She's nothing, like, crazy in that book. But I did like seeing Nesta from a outsider's point of view after she's had this whole remodel of her life. And it, I like it. And I liked her freaking bestie or brotherly relationship with Azriel. Now with that, we're going to Azriel. Okay. I liked Nesta and Azriel's relationship in House of Flame and Shadow. If you listen to that podcast, I said that they are, like, surprisingly close. And I don't know if surprising is the right term, because we see in Silver Flames that Nesta will, like, go out of her way to talk to Azriel and be nice to him and just be homies, okay? So, Pickles, calm down, buddy. Sorry, I know I say okay and a lot. Okay, guys, I'm working on it. You're gonna have to bear with me and sounding like a dumb high schooler. Okay, I apologize. Back to Azriel. Where was I at? Oh yeah, his relationship with Nesta, especially the one moment Nesta uses the mask in Flame and Shadow, and then he is so relieved when she takes it off. He, like, is hugging her and, like, stroking her hair. And you can just tell, like, they love each other deeply, not in, like, a romantic way, but in, like, we're ride or die, okay? Like, you're my family, and we will go down together. Aside from that, bro needs a wellness journey, okay? The thing is that we don't have much to go on for Azriel. Okay, in the first freaking section of the ACOTAR series, sorry, I'm losing my words right now. Mist and Fury, we get a little bit of Azriel, and Wings and Ruin, we get a little bit of Rings. Oh, oh my gosh. Again, I don't even know what I'm saying. We get a little bit of Azriel, but not enough. Okay, people are making these entire, like, fan fictions and whatnot based off Azriel. We don't know anything about him, guys. Let's acknowledge that. We get, like, maybe 10 sentences from him from those 2 books. He's always the quiet, like, silent killer in the back, where he's like, now we get a little bit of humor, okay? And Wings and Ruin, when he's teaching Feyre how to fly, which is very endearing, okay? He's a funny guy. Okay? But we don't really know actually anything about him, okay? We know that he is a sad sob story, as all of them do, but we don't know who he is. And then we get to Silver Flames. Okay, that's fine. And he's also got this little situation with Elaine, and guys, I don't want him with Elaine. Elaine's too freaking boring. We'll get to Elaine. But Azriel needs someone better than Elaine. Okay? And anyways, so in Silver Flames, if you get, I think it's the Books A Million exclusive edition. You don't even need to buy it. You can go online and find the bonus chapter for free. For free. We get a bonus chapter of Azriel. And in that chapter, he literally comes off with like psycho stalker vibes. Okay? The way he thinks is intense and it's unhealthy. Now, I'm not saying I hate it, because what we get is a character that is going to have growth and development. Okay? So he's set for a great start. Okay, he's a interesting character. He's not a healthy character. So I don't want to see people saying, "Oh, Azrael is our little small cinnamon roll." Okay, no, he's not, guys. Literally, he is the person that does all the torturing in the night court. Okay, so let's not get it twisted, buddy. And then he has this little fiasco going on with Elaine and the Christmas present. Well, then he gave this necklace, right, to Elaine. And then Elaine gives it back to him. And then, oh my gosh, guys, he goes and gives the same necklace to Gwen. Girl. Now, I don't like petty drama like that, and so I don't really want for that drama to get hashed out in a book. However, because it happened, it needs to get hashed out. You know what I'm saying? It has to get taken care of now. Because the fact that he gave her this necklace is ridiculous and absurd. And he honestly should have been like Cassian and just threw that gift into the Sidra River. Because that is way better than giving this piece to your second choice, not telling them, and then Gwen's gonna be wearing it, and then what if, like, Elaine sees it or something? Because that's totally possible, okay? Gwen is literally besties with Nessa, who's sisters with Elaine, guys. So, first of all, I don't like that Azrael did that, okay? Also, one thing that we do know is that Azrael likes to party. And let me tell you why I think that. Even though every time that, they go out drinking, Cassian and Moore are the ones that seem to get wild. No, I think this man gets wild in his free time when he's not with the gang. Because, first of all, when Rhysand is freaking getting mad at Azrael about going after Elaine, when Elaine is mated, has the mating bond with Lucian, but not technically mated, okay? It's freaking complicated and drawn out. Anyways, when Rhysand is getting mad at Azrael, okay, he literally tells Azrael that if he is, like, dying so bad for, like, affection or whatever, to go to the pleasure halls, okay? So basically a brothel. Now, you might be thinking that Rhysand was just being a douche. However, I think this was a pointed, like, comment, okay, because of how, like, I don't know, messed up Azrael is. If you're reading that chapter, you know what I mean. Like, this guy is, like, freaking obsessed with Elaine, basically, and the little kindness he gets from her, and I don't know. He's unhealthy. He's a little psychotic. And then in Flame and Shadow, there's the Walmart bonus chapter, which, first of all, I'm going to say I don't like bonus chapters, because bonus chapters are obviously, they are a legit part of the story. That's why they're published, okay? And they're called a bonus chapter. Like, it is part of the bigger story, even though it's not included, and it should just be included, rather than making it a marketing thing where, oh, you need to buy this version of the book to get it. Or you need to buy, and if you want this other thing, like this version from Books A Million has the bonus chapter, but then this other version has fan art or something. Okay, I don't like that they're trying to make me buy like several of the same copies. I know it's a marketing thing, but I don't like it. Bonus chapters should just be part of the main book. Okay, buddy. Back to Flame and Shadow, the bonus chapter in the Walmart edition. You can find it online, or just go into Walmart and read it. Like, literally just go in there, sit for 15 minutes reading this chapter. I went with Nicholas to Walmart, and when I saw that they had a special edition for Walmart, I took photos of the chapters and then later read the chapters from my photo gallery. I'm not even gonna lie. That's what I did. Anyways, Azrael asked Bryce, because she has her phone out and she's, like, playing music for them and trying to give them, like, window into her world. He asked her what music they play in the dance halls, the clubs, okay? This man likes to get down and funky, okay? He's probably chasing his demons with some sick dance moves. And I'm psyched about that, okay? I love it. And I think another reason that Azrael and Nesta are good besties are because they're both F-ups, okay? They're so messed up. Nesta has improved. Azrael, though, is unhealthy, okay? He's been pining after a lesbian for 500 years, which after the first, 3 years, okay, which should be shorter than that, but if she's not giving you the time of day, move on, buddy. Love is a choice, okay? You have a say in it. You don't have to cling to those feelings forever. He could have moved past that 400 plus years ago. And then now he's going after Elaine because Elaine's this cute little lady, but Elaine's got a freaking mate, okay? So again, pining after the wrong woman, bud. And then you have Gwen, and it's like Gwen's a total catch. She's also a freaking Illyrian warrior now. So that's who he should be with. Now, people were saying that Azrael can't be with Gwen because they have this weird situation because Azrael was the one to take her out of the temple when Sangrava was sacked and raided, and just, all the priestesses there were abused, right? They were violated. And he's the one that found Gwen and took her out. And so we were like, oh, that's weird. It's not like a good, healthy relationship that they would have. I am going to argue that because Gwen is a new woman, okay? She is healed. She's also a freaking Illyrian warrior now who can take care of herself. She doesn't need Azrael. But that's how relationships should be. You don't need the other person, but you want them. You love them, okay? And that's why you're with them. And that's why I think Azrael and Gwen should be together, okay? He needs to stop pining for Elaine and more and being a little sad sack and get his life together, okay? Go to therapy and freaking become better and then make your moves on Gwen, but don't give her a secondhand necklace, because if he does that stuff again, now I'm gonna be like, Gwen can do better, okay? And right now, where Azrael's at, she can't do better. But I understand that Azrael is a good-looking guy, and so she might fall to his charms, okay? I, in a moment of weakness, could fall to a handsome man's charms. I did with Nicholas. However, it turned out that he was a great man, a great guy, and so I don't regret that. But Gwen, okay, she needs a guy like Nicholas, and Azrael's not there yet. Okay, he needs to get his life together. We're moving on now. I spent way too much time on Azrael. Elaine is, let's remember, guys, Elaine is the middle child. Feyre is the youngest. And then also their mom was kind of a useless character. She's never actually there, but their mom, the Orcheron mother, is always mentioned. And she told Feyre to promise she would take care of her sisters. Feyre was the youngest child, okay? And then we have Feyre and Nesta, who both would, do anything at first to protect Elaine. It's Elaine's the middle child, okay? Elaine does not need protecting. If Elaine is dainty and stupid, it's because she has worked to be dainty and stupid, And so she's boring. Now, I will say, when she had that little heartbreak moment with Grayson in Wings and Ruin, that made me tear up because of how heartfelt and loving it was. However, if we're getting a book on Elaine, which I don't want a book on Elaine, I want a book on Azrael. But if we get a book on Elaine, which is very possible since we're going through the sisters right now, then I want to see Elaine get some steel. Okay, I want to see her get a backbone. That's what we want to see from her. Besides her being useless and boring, I think she should not have been mated to Lucian. Poor Lucian, okay, to get mated to her. I think the mating bond should have been between Elaine and Tamlin. It would have been perfect. Spring court, flowers, gardening. Tamlin wants a damsel. She is a damsel. I mean, what more could you want for them? Okay, they're a perfect relationship. She's so dainty and like timid. She would be perfect for Tamlin. She would be. Moving on. Now we're at Lucian. Now, I know Lucian has some confidence issues when it comes to maybe defending people that he loves. Okay, he might struggle with that. He's a peacekeeper is the thing. Is that he's a peacekeeper. And so he doesn't like conflict, which a lot of people don't, okay? I like Lucian. I especially like that Lucian's a good-looking guy. Let's not forget that. He is a good friend, okay? He effed up. He made some bad choices as a friend, okay? But deep down inside, he cares deeply for Feyre. And I would be lying if I didn't think that it would have been a good moment for Lucian and Feyre to get together. Now, obviously, Feyre's with Rhysand, living happily ever after. Okay, I want a happily ever after for Lucian, though. If we're being real, I could actually do a book on Lucian, okay? I would love to get in on Lucian's little head. I would like that. I think it would be splendid, dare I say. Dare I say. Talking about Lucian, we're going to move on to his brother Eris. Now, Eris, I think we can all agree, has Rhys vibes. Okay? He's obviously like the portrayed villain, but deep down, he's a good guy. It's so emotional for him. And we know that from Silver Flames. Cassian literally has a moment. He's like, you know, Eris, I think you're actually deep down, you're a good guy. Okay? You are that guy, man. Okay, so there's not really much to say on Eris because we don't really get that much. It's more of just Eris. He's not really doing anything that bad, and then like the whole Prythian gang just hates on him. And he's like, really? Why don't you ask more about the truth? Okay, so moving on to more. What the frick is the truth with Eris, huh? I feel like we might get a book on more, and dare I say, I don't want a book on more. I'd rather have a book on Eris. I don't really care about more that much, to be honest. She is a girl's girl, okay? She's the one you want on your side. She's a homie, for sure. However, the whole thing with Eris, a little shady, a little biased, dare I say. The fact that she drags Azriel along is not a girl's girl move, okay? That's a little toxic and unhealthy. Just cut that man off. Just freaking rip that band-aid right off more. End it for this poor man. It has been 500 years, guys. Like, get it together. Also, what the freak is her power? Okay, she's like her power is like truth or something like that. What is that? What does that mean? Like, you can tell when people's lying because she's super powerful and we don't know what the freak that means. Like, guys, think about it. What does it mean? And then besides more and all that stuff, I think more's because obviously now we know she's technically bi, but really leaning towards a lesbian. I think she's going to end up with Emery. Because Emery had that little moment where she blushed talking about, like, more visiting the Illyrian camps or whatever. So that's why I think it's going to happen. And then we have Papa Archeron. Okay, he's actually precious and very, like, heartfelt. What I loved, oh my gosh, I teared up when he died because he talks about Nesta and his girls, like, so lovingly, even though, like, Nesta literally hated his guts until the end. It did not matter how much she hated him, he still loved her. And isn't that what makes a good dad? Now you might be like, you know, Papa Archeron was bumming it in that little shack, not working, doing nothing. Okay, his leg was shattered in, like, medieval times. There's not really much he can do. So, he would do his little wood carvings, and then Nesta was mad about it. Girl, Nesta did nothing. Nesta did absolutely nothing. Okay? And I'm saying this as someone who likes Nesta. I like her character. I like her story. But when it comes to her relationship with her dad, which obviously it, like, haunted her after her dad died, but she spent all those years being angry at him, wanting him to, like, do something with his life, and, like, he was trying his best, okay? He was just as sad and depressed as everyone else was in that little town. So yeah, life sucked. And, it might have been because he made some poor choices. But Nessa made some poor choices too, girl. And she took all her anger out on that poor man. And then he died with Nessa being furious at him. While he, he made a difference in the war, guys. So, now we're going to move on to books. We're going to start with Silver Flames, and then we'll come back to the start of Thorns and Roses, okay? Silver Flames. Now, the plot kind of sucked in this book. The thing is that the whole side plot thing with Brie Allen was pointless and unnecessary. Also, the ending with Brie Allen, where she uses Cassian to try to kill Nesta to get back, the story just doesn't really add up, and it kind of feels like it's out of nowhere. They're talking about Brie Allen throughout, but we don't really get anything from Brie Allen until the very end. And so that part sucked. The plot of the story should have just been, basically the coming of the Valkyries. All the girls training and whatnot. The going through, the blood rite? That was great. You didn't even really need to add in Brie Allen and Cassian coming into the end of the blood rite. That was totally unnecessary. Also, we find out that Nessa still has her powers after the end of the book. And so that was a little confusing in the end because she's like, I'll trade my powers to, save Feyre and giving birth and whatnot. But then she still has her powers, so it doesn't really talk about that. There's the mating bond between her and Cassian, which, first of all, I hate when, characters get together and they're like, oh yeah, we're just hooking up. It doesn't mean anything, even though they totally have feelings. And then the other person gets hurt. And it's the hurt flashed across their eyes for a split second. So fast I almost didn't even, or so fast I thought I imagined it. And I wish they could just see the truth in my eyes and see through the lie that I told. Okay, why don't you just be honest then? Stop playing games. Just say you like them. It's not oh my gosh. I get so fed up with poor writing like that. Freaking just mature. Just become a better person. Become healthy. Yeah, and then they have the mating bond. And then we have this cheesy, horrific moment where Nesta doesn't want to, she's getting all tense about the mating bond between her and Cassian, because Cassian's you literally agreed forever and now you're freaking out about it. And why? She's because the mating bond means I'm giving up the last of my humanity. Girl, she has not been struggling with her humanity throughout the book. Okay, her struggle has been realizing she's weak and she's a bad person, but it hasn't been on her not being human now, okay? She has PTSD from going into the cauldron, but it's not about losing her humanity and then becoming Fae. That was just too cheesy. It was unnecessary, and you could have, that was just lazy writing, in my opinion. It was so dumb. And I already said freaking Cassian was a simp, and I just did not like that. Okay, he was a total simp, and I know Amber was keep reaching out your hand, which is right, but I don't know. There's gotta be a good balance, okay? When people walk over your boundaries, you gotta freaking, I don't know, fortify them, bring out the weapons, stand your ground, hold the line, baby, okay? You don't let people walk all over your boundaries, bud. And it's freaking Cassian. He's the general, he's the top dog, and he can't get his emotions in order. I don't know, man. Oh, and then, freaking Amryn telling Nesta, because Nesta is the house likes Nesta, right? Okay, Amryn telling Nesta, you made the house come alive again or something. Oh my gosh, that was so cheesy. It was so stupid. It literally, I closed the book and I just cringed. I was I can't believe that was written in here. Also, besides, everyone talked about pacing issues with that book. Also, Rhysand was like, he was kind of an ick in that book. Now, I know he was furious when Nesta told Feyre that he'd been lying about this stuff, about the pregnancy and whatnot, but, which was not cool. But Rhysand throughout the book, he's just kind of a douchebag, and he was okay. Like, again, I was talking earlier, like, he's too perfect, and then now I'm saying flaws, but, like, he's, like, a douchebag in, like, the interview way, you know? I'm not going to elaborate on that anymore, because I already explained it, but anyways, now we're going to jump back to A Court of Thorns and Roses, the actual first book, and it's good. It's good, but Amarantha is, her little riddle is stupid. Her motive is, like, for the book is, it's okay, but it is, like, a couple 100 years old, okay? I feel like it would wear down after a while, but I don't know, man. I guess I don't know the Fae that well. But her riddle was stupid. It was so cheesy. The book was also good without trying to make it a Beauty and a Beast and the Beast remake. The whole monologue, if your book needs an epic monologue, this long freaking thing to explain why it is the way it is, maybe it should be done a different way. Because if I can't understand that plot idea without you telling me straightforward, then obviously it wasn't written that well. And so we got some huge freaking monologue that connected it to, like, this Beauty and the Beast idea, and it was just unnecessary. You didn't even need to do that monologue for us to understand, like, the story, because now you're, like, really struggling to, like, make it this thing that it's not, and it was good without it being made into this thing, you know what I'm talking about? Also, I want to say Tamlin is actually, he's a good, interesting character. Now, you're probably like, bro, Tamlin. Okay, no, let me tell you. Because, first of all, in the first book, we see he does have unhealthy, abusive tendencies. When he gets angry, he blows up, he breaks things. He's dangerous to be around. Okay, he's a toxic human being from the start. And he does have his good qualities. Like, remember, when Feyre was trying to learn how to read, he took all the words that she had written down that she didn't know and made this ridiculous, hilarious poem to read her. It was so endearing, okay? It might have been a little cringy, a little silly, but it was endearing, okay? So he has his good and his bad qualities. He is actually a dynamic character, okay? And then we see him in the recovery of Amarantha and Mist and Fury. He is devastated. He is a ruined man. He is angry. He is, like, trying to fake it till he makes it, okay? And then Feyre leaves, and then he's, you know, more ruined, and then he goes from an angry guy to a sad, depressed guy who, like, literally doesn't even want to be alive anymore. And then, but he still does little things throughout that, even though he doesn't like Feyre anymore. You know, she ruined him. He still does things that are good, you know? Like, when Feyre went to the Hybern camp to save Elaine, and when she was escaping, Tamlin held off the Hybern soldiers. How about when Rhysand died, okay, and he gave whatever little spark of life so that they could resurrect him, okay? He's not a horrible guy. He just needs therapy. He needs a wellness journey, okay? Now that I've gotten that said, in Mist of Fury, now this is definitely the best book of this series. I've already said that. It does have a few cheesy bits that were hard to swallow, okay? For example, when Feyre, she's doing some, like, challenging thing, and she's like, but I am strong. I am powerful. It was a little too feminist for me. Now, I'm not saying I don't like to see powerful women, but it was just a little too cheesy, and I would never have, like, those thoughts would not come naturally to me. You know what I'm saying? Also, the moment with, I don't know what it is with like Amryn being in cheesy moments when Amryn's like this tiny little like badass, but Amryn is talking to Feyre about how Rhys-Anne thinks he's like the villain, and then Feyre's like, but I forgot to tell Rhys-Anne that the villain is the one who locks the girl away. He was the one who freed me. Or like something cheesy like that. And oh my gosh, I wanted to literally stop reading right then. It was so cringy. It was not good. Now, besides those little cheesy moments, the book was pretty good. Also, it was weird Feyre painting the cabin, but whatever. Whatever works in their little family dynamic. One moment I wanted to point out that was absolutely BA was Feyre killing the Ator and like literally flying and catching up to him in the sky, and then she's dragging him down as fast as she can to the ground, and let's go teleports at the last second to save herself while the Ator freaking smashes into the ground and dies. Now that was a beautiful moment. That was absolutely perfection. I'm sorry if you can hear my feet like moving on this and it sounds like I probably farted. I do apologize. I did not fart though. Wings and Ruin. Now this book is kind of a blur. Like I don't really remember that much. It also like was not as good as Mist and Fury. Now I have to say, the few things I do remember: Feyre and the Spring Court, totally like ruining everything over there. Love it. It was a slay. It was absolutely devious, and I loved it. Then the face down on the ice in the Winter Court of Eris and the Autumn brothers chasing after Feyre and Lotion. And then Cassian and Azriel, the Bat Boys, show up. Loved it. That scene was a slay. Nesta had some small improvements in this book before she just went back to being the worst person ever at the start of Silver Flames, which was kind of depressing when I started Silver Flames after reading Wings and Ruin, and I was like, oh, Nesta's actually slowly becoming a better person in that book, and then we started over with her. That was a little bit of a bummer. And then the last thing that, like, I feel like none of us really remember that well was, like, Amryn's betrayal at the very end of the book. Like, we obviously all remember Amryn unbecoming whatever it was that she was, and then becoming regular Fae. But that whole betrayal moment with her, yeah, like, didn't we just all forget about that? Like, that she lied to everyone, that she knew how to save them, but really it was going to be using the Book of Breathing. So like I think she was going to sacrifice herself or something. I don't remember, but basically she lied about how they could save the war or whatever. Anyways, then we have A Court of Frost and Starlight. People were upset because this book was like slow and boring, and you're like, wow, all we get to see is that Feyre like feels bad from the war and has like PTSD. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, that's actually really normal. Like, people were upset because the book wasn't like all that in a bag of chips, is the saying. Yeah, so it's literally just recovery from the war. That's all it is, that book. And it's totally normal, and it's totally what you expect. So I didn't have any issues with that. Yeah, there's no, like, crazy, like, drama or anything. But that's kind of the point of the book. Like, you just got 3 books of all hell being let loose. And then we're in the recovery period. And people have PTSD. Like, that makes sense. R.I.P. the Suriel. I don't know if that's how you say it, but the Suriel was the gangster, the start of the show. And when he died in Akawar, I literally was crying. I was crying for this scraggly, ugly skeleton person, okay? Because of how, it's like when you have that stone cold dad that doesn't have any emotions, and then he starts tearing up about this one thing. And I'm like, oh, I love it. I freaking love it, okay? I don't know what it is, but I love seeing a stone cold killer shed a tear, okay? Being sad, being heartfelt, having emotions. I love it. I really do. Now I have to say, I am tired of people coming back to life, okay? Let them die. Not everyone can make it. I know you want a happy ending. I know people love whatever, all the characters and don't want any of them to die. Some of them need to die. If it's a war, you gotta die. Okay? Throne of Glass was perfect. Kingdom of Ash, we had so many deaths, guys, and it was tragic, and it, like, literally shredded us apart, but it was good. Okay, we have Akawar. Rhysand's the only one to actually die, and then he gets resurrected. Now, I'm not saying I want Rhysand dead, but I'm saying someone needed to die. It should have happened. There needs to be a character death. It can't be little rainbows and roses, okay? We can't do that. Anyways, I'm also tired. I said this in a Flame and Shadow podcast. I'm tired of everyone being mates. Like, what if we just didn't do mates, or maybe there's a mating bond and then they figure out how to break it? I don't know, but I don't like things that are like, we're predestined, or like, it always would have been this person. Like, no matter what happened, we always ended up together. I'm so tired of that. Oh, sorry. I might have just hit the mic. And now, that's all I have on ACOTAR. However, I have a few things that I did not get to talk about that, well, I could have, but I forgot to talk about them in House of Flame and Shadow, and so I'm going to finish that stuff right now. So, sorry. First of all, Rhys interrogating, and which we see Rhys in that one scene in the book, and then he's mentioned after that, but we never actually see him again. A little disappointing. That whole crossover from Flame and Shadow was so underwhelming and disappointing, and we were all devastated. Let's just put that up front. So Rhys interrogating, and then he wouldn't, like, Amber was like, just read her mind, and then Rhys is like, well, I'm not going to if she doesn't give me permission. And then he asks for permission, and she says no. I'm like, bro, just read her mind. Like, she's literally an alien that just landed on your planet. Read her mind, okay? Who cares? I know Rhys is, like, trying to be, he's like, I gotta be a better person. Rhys, you're literally too perfect, okay? So, have some freaking flaws. Do the business that needs to be done. He leaves all this, like, harsh stuff to Azriel. And that's why Azriel is probably so effed up and has so many mental health problems, okay? Freaking just do what needs to be done, Rhysand. Read her mind. Like, the fact that he's, like, still too perfect in even Flame and Shadow, it's not even his book, okay? It's literally a totally different series, and he gets brought into it, and even here, he's too perfect. No thank you. I'm tired of it. And then we have, like, the ending scene, which, can we just say that Ember and Randall were the star of the show in Flame and Shadow? That the little last moment when after they had been in Prythian was the real, like, heartfelt winner of this entire crossover, because it's, like, the most personal. It's the most, like, personal we get with the Prythian game during Flame and Shadow. Okay, but when when Bryce pushes her parents through the portal, before, like, leading up to that moment when she's talking to Nesta, and you can see, like, the black fog rolling in, and she's like, Rhys is gonna be here any moment. Now, that was interesting, and that was cool, but also we never see that anywhere else, because before, like, okay, we have, like, when Rhys winnows into the wedding, okay, and he made that dramatic, but also, why did he make that dramatic? Like, the moment leading up to, like, him getting to the House of Wind when Bryce's parents were there, like, him taking his sweet time, and, like, he has the fog there before he gets there. I don't know, it didn't really make sense. It sounded cool, but it doesn't make sense. And then Nesta has powers still in that book, and we don't really hear anything why, like, how she still has them. And then, now this is definitely not related to, the ACOTAR series whatsoever. But in Flame and Shadow, when the stranger comes in, when Lydia and the gang are at Avalon, or Avalon, whatever you want to say, the stranger comes in to thank Lydia for like saving him, and this all happens in front of Rune. Was anyone else like totally baffled by that scene making it into the final cut of that book? Because that scene was totally purposeless. The purpose of that scene was to just prove to Rune that Lydia was a good person, because you have this random guy literally from nowhere just show up and be like, "Hey, I heard you were here and you saved me and my family. Thank you." Okay? We didn't need that scene to tell us that Lydia is a good person. We already knew Lydia was a good person. And Rune can already see from her actions that she's a good person. He doesn't need that scene. If he's still freaking making poor choices, that's on him. Okay? So it's like, that scene was pointless, and it was too cheesy, and it was very random and just unnecessary. And I did not like it, okay? I was not a fan of Ruin in that book, and yeah. Okay, well, I think I covered everything now. Absolutely everything. I'm sorry if I might have hit the mic or like hit the stand and made the mic shake or anything. Yeah, and I'm sure this was way longer than it needed to be, especially considering that, like, this series has been out forever and so many people have covered it, and then I decided that I guess no one has heard my opinion yet, and they must hear it, and so I had to cover it. Oh, also, I will point out that this book, when it first came out, I think it was deemed as YA, and it's definitely not YA. I don't think it's YA anymore. I think they do put it in the adult section, but it was pretty wild that it was in the YA section. I would never want my kid, like, if they're, ugh, I tell you, if they're in high school, which I know there's high schoolers reading this, but if they are in high school, I probably would not let my kid read this, because that is, there are adult scenes in this that you don't want your high schooler getting any ideas from. Okay, well, I hope I covered everything that I wanted to say, and I am excited to see what we will get in the future. I'm really hoping that the future books set in this world are either going to be on Azriel, Eris, maybe even Lucian, but I don't care about Elaine whatsoever, so let's just get that straight. If her book comes out and I love her and I end up falling for her, then great. But right now I don't care to read it at all. So, anyways, love you all. Thank you for listening. And I will see you when I see you, because right now I am not continuous in posting on a consistent basis. So, okay, later.